All right. There is some f***ery afoot in the fashion world, and I want to talk about it. Now, this all centers around something that I am calling the LA Miami stratagem. Why stratagem? Because it makes me sound smarter and it makes my theory more legitimate. So what is the LA Miami stratagem? It is a ruse, a plot that has been cooked up in these regions to shift the modern fashion world in a particular direction. A direction that is filled with
industry plants.
Keep that phrase in mind, it's going to be coming up later. Now, both Los Angeles, California, and Miami, Florida are places that are filled to the brim, overflowing with clout-brained little goblins. So this kind of style is seeping into these areas and is then spreading to the rest of the country, to us normal folk. So I travel to Miami somewhat regularly, and there is something that I've noticed in the boutiques there. It's the emergence of a particular style and a particular set of designers that are just, for lack of a better word, fake as f***. Now I get it, I'm an old man yelling at clouds here, but bear with me because there's some interesting stuff going on here. Now, forgive me for calling out a particular store, but there is one in particular that I think is leading the charge in the stratagem, and that is a shop called Market, or the Miami one is Market de, and they have an online shop now called Supermarket. Well branded, well put together, well conceptualized, the designers they stock, they make sense together, but that style they are cultivating is very particular and very new. It's a set of designers that people just aren't talking about yet in the fashion content creation and journalism space. So what am I talking about here? Well, there are more established names, of course, like Vêtements, Enfant Riche, Déprimé, Maison, Mihara, Yasuhiro, right? All of that makes sense. But then there are these other brands that are trying to do that same thing in that same lane as the brands I just mentioned, but they're trying to like skip the line. Now, what brands am I talking about here? There's one called Astrum. What is it? I don't really know. It looks like a weird amalgam of about 5 different clout goblin modern brands. There's RRR123. No, that's not a walrus asking for some more fish.
RRR! RRR!
It's a brand that does like, I don't know, vintage washed motorcycle sportswear stuff. There's Cuckoo Bebe 75018, which is basically the same thing again, just super vintage stuff, except that one's kind of interesting cut and sew. But no, I'm not making these names up. Astrum, RRR123, Cuckoo Bebe 75018. What is happening here? It seems like a very particular formula is being employed here. And what is that formula? It is find a t-shirt, hoodie, sweatpants manufacturer, give them some vintage style, like boxy cropped measurements to make stuff in, and then like enzyme wash the hell out of it, sandpaper the hems and the collar, and you've got a high-end luxury vintage style piece that you can sell at one of these Miami or LA multi-brand boutiques for $300 to $500 per t-shirt. And all of these, I would say, are varying degrees of industry plants. Now, you may have heard that phrase before. I'd say most commonly in the music industry. And when they say it there, they mean it is an artist that maybe hasn't earned their place. They have been picked up by a manager, label, agent, whatever, and are being pushed on people without merit, without having earned it. And I think in fashion, it actually works much the same. These brands that fall within the LA Miami stratagem, they are utilizing their connections with these various boutiques as opposed to their skill as designers. Now, that's kind of a harsh thing to say, I recognize, but it was not long ago at all that in order to start a brand, you needed some design and construction skills. I understand it. Now there are manufacturers. Really, the skill is knowing how to put together a tech pack and find partners to manufacture stuff. But that also takes a lot of the soul out of the fashion because it makes it a product as opposed to a piece of art. And that brings us to the king of the new style LA Miami industry plants. There's one brand I really want to talk about today, and that brand is called
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Now, if you haven't heard of this brand, yes, it's a brand called Satoshi Nakamoto. You may be saying, what, the Bitcoin guy? Yes, correct. But nah, it's not actually run by the Bitcoin guy. Nobody knows who he is. So if you didn't know, Satoshi Nakamoto is the name used by the person or group of persons who created the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. There are many theories of who Satoshi Nakamoto is, some with more merit than others, but it's still a big mystery, and he is very respected for having created this really interesting new idea of cryptocurrency. Now, what does that have to do with fashion? What does it have to do with the brand Satoshi Nakamoto that is being stocked at all of these new stores? Well, nothing. There is no connection. I think the connection is that whoever founded the brand Satoshi Nakamoto thought it added an air of mystery to it, a question to be asked, something that piques the intrigue of the audience. And it seems to be working because people are eating it up. So real quick, credit where it's due. What is Satoshi Nakamoto doing that people like? Well, probably their biggest claim to fame is these like padded motocross pieces. Whether it's a sweatshirt or a pair of sweatpants or shorts, they're putting in these kind of like reptilian padded areas, and that is probably their most popular set of pieces. And they're really leaning into that motocross core thing, which I am famously not a huge fan of, but credit where it's due, people like it. But as if that wasn't enough, unless you were like, hey, look, Satoshi Nakamoto, that's a bit too subtle for me, okay? I don't just want motocross padding. I just want a shirt with people motocrossing on it. Well, they've got that for you too. And I'll admit, it's legitimately not all bad. There is one shirt with these like kind of crystals coming down on them that was posted by like, I think a magazine showing off their new season. I was like, that's a sick shirt. I even reached out to the brand Satoshi Nakamoto trying to get my hands on it because guess what? They didn't ship that shirt anywhere. The stuff they ship to their stockists is all the basic motocross stuff. And this shirt, it would look good on me. No lie, it's a good looking shirt, but it also kind of looks like Eddie Slama Saint Laurent stuff. Like you could definitely get something that looks like that. It has the kind of like fuckboy style, like over clean style of like a Miri. If you want something more boho but similar, I'm sure you could get it from like Capital or something like that. So even the best Satoshi Nakamoto pieces are not like groundbreaking. Another piece that I'll admit looks good is the hoodies, very distressed hoodies with like a cut V-neck style. They look good. The fit looks nice. The treatment looks nice. It's nice and bold. I like it. But guess what? Enfant Riche de Prime did this exact silhouette of hoodie. Just get that one. Nothing has even really been designed here. There's not a care for the clothing in any way. And with that in mind, when you look at the Satoshi Nakamoto pieces, everything starts to feel pretty crass. Like the big BTC Bitcoin thing, it all feels like a put on, a stylistic thing to look cool to the LA Miami crowd, who again are all clout brand little goblins who will gobble this stuff up. They're gobbling clout goblins. Like, this stuff isn't even made well. I have one online fashion friend, you could say, who was curious about Satoshi Nakamoto, bought one of the $1,000 Destructo hoodies, I think they're called, and the brand tag at the back of the neck is crooked. Like, it looks like whoever sewed it on was on so much Klonopin that they could barely operate the sewing machine. This is not avant-garde, important, forward-thinking design. This is not well-made clothing. It's not well thought out, not even well manufactured. It's overpriced crap for kids who like to wear the same stuff the NBA players they idolize are wearing. Straight up. But I want to end this on a positive note. Just because something is in this new LA Miami style doesn't mean it's bad. If you pay any attention to my channel, you'll know that I am a legitimate fan of Enfant Riche de Prime, probably one of the biggest hype brands at this point. I think that brand's ethos is cool, I think the design is cool, and I think the clothes are well made and interesting. Maison Mihara Yasuhiro is one of the biggest hype brands at these types of boutiques, and they're legitimately interesting. That brand is always doing cool, innovative, outside-the-box stuff. But those are both bigger, more established brands. I'll give you one more example of a brand that is stocked at market, this shop, and is tiny and is doing stuff in the same style, but doing it with an authenticity. They stock stuff by a designer, Masato Kawajo. And this is a guy, a Japanese guy, I believe, based in LA. He just sets himself up at flea markets and takes really cool vintage pieces, whether it's from Levi's or Harley Davidson or even Chrome Hearts, and he just chain stitches weird, cool, profane stuff into them and then sells it for $1,000+. You may not like it, you may not find it interesting, but this is somebody who is doing this new type of style in a way that is grounded and authentic, even if it's not for you. So that's the video. Let me know what you think. Do you think I've gone too hard on Satoshi Nakamoto here? Are there saving graces for the LA-Miami stratagem style that you want to lay out? Do you think I'm right? Do you want to hype me up? Do you want to glaze me? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, do all of these things that help me in the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you next time.